Hi and welcome to Wednesday Night Live. Tonight we are going to talk about Independent Ivy. So Independent Ivy is the first person of our self-love stage of the change journey, and her flower is the Banksia, which means starting anew or releasing the past. So independence is all about, let me start that again. When you're unself-aware, so if you are in your life like I was in my life and you're unself-aware around what it is that you want and what you're doing, you become more and more dependent on other people. So you start relying on other people to give you your feedback, their thoughts about what you should do, what you should think, what you should wear, all that kind of stuff. So the lack of self-awareness leads to a lack of independence. So I've discovered that the more self-aware I've become, the more independent I've become. And the reason that it's important is because this is your life, and journey is all about you. So if you're going to put everybody else first and do everything that everybody else wants you to do your whole life, you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to look back and you're going to think, I actually don't even know if I enjoyed that life, or I don't even know if I did what I wanted to achieve, because I've never really stopped and asked myself, what is it that I want to do? So Independent Ivy is all about you. It's all about you seeking what you want to do, what thoughts you want to have, what behaviors you want to have, what things you want to do in your life, what lights you up. And really that's the essence of our change journey. But Independent Ivy is really about making that stance to stop being reliant on other people and really start to think about you. So people will say to me that that's really selfish, and it is in a way, but it also, like I just said, it's your life. So at the end of the day, at some point you have to start asking yourself, what do you want from your life? Because you can put all your kids first, but they're going to grow up and they're going to move away and they're going to do other things. You can put your friends first, but they might move on and do other stuff. You can put your partner first, but at the end of the day, you won't be happy unless you put yourself first. And that's what this is all about. So it's about really looking into you and seeing what it is that you want to do, and making your sense of self matter, because Independent Ivy is the first stage of our self-love, and we can't have self-love if we're not actually understanding what it is that we want to do and be, and who we are, and all the little aspects around us. So that's why she's really, really important, and that's why she's the first character of the self-love stage of the change journey. So that's all very well, but what happens when we do have partners and kids and all that, and you think, well, I just can't put myself first? And I always like to go back to the analogy or the movie, and I think it was Tom Cruise, and I think the movie was the one where he's the big shot baseball agent. Really should have looked up the name of the movie before I started my live. Anyway, it's the movie where he says, he walks into the room of his girlfriend and he says, "You complete me." And at the time, I was just like, oh my God, that is exactly what I want. I want a man who I complete, and I want a man who completes me. And the problem that we have in life is that I think we all fell for that, and the fairy tales and the Tom Cruise movies and all the chick flicks that we watch. At the end of the day, the man and the woman complete each other. And in actual fact, that's not what we want in life, because what we actually want to do is have one whole person walking alongside another whole person in a partnership that is harmonious, and you move forward together. Because the "you complete me" means that there's some part of you missing. And if you're looking externally for that part of you, So if you don't fully understand who you are and you don't have total self-awareness about who you are, and there's something missing and you don't know what that something is, and you can't find that something, and you can't fill that something void yourself, then you go looking externally for that. And more often than not, we look for it in a partner. And that's where we get this "you complete me." But then you are reliant on that person to fulfill that inner core need of you that you don't really want to be reliant on that person to fill. You would be rather better off filling that need yourself, or that void yourself. So this happens when a classic example, and this isn't my example, but this is just a classic example, is when women find themselves with men who resemble their fathers. So let's say what was lacking was their father's love growing up. So what they do is they find men that are very much like their fathers, because they're trying to fill that gap of their father's love. But if you could be self-aware enough and be independent enough and analyze yourself enough to say, actually, what I'm missing is my father's love, then you could work on all other areas to repair that. You could talk to your father, you could have conversations, you could try and repair that relationship. If you couldn't do that, you could bring in a lot of acceptance and forgiveness and move on that way. And that would be so much more empowering than what you're doing at the moment, which is seeking to fill that void in you with somebody else. So that is what this Independent Ivy part of the book is all about. And it's really quite deep and it's quite intense. And it's not about just going off and doing your own thing, because it's so deeper than that. So it is about that as well. Like, it's about having your independence so that if you want to go and have a massage, you can go and have a massage. Or it's independent enough that if you want to play a sport every Saturday, then you organise everybody around that and you go and play that sport on a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever that is. And you start to prioritise your needs over other people. So that's one aspect of Independent Ivy, really simple, top level. But the other thing is this filling this void. And both of them are just as equally as important as each other. And it's the same with the kids. It can't just be your partner. Sometimes it's the kids that are taking your energy and you're giving to them all the time. And you're not giving back to yourself. And the old adage, and I've said this 1,000 times on my lives, is you can't help anybody else if your cup is full. So if you're giving to everybody else and your cup is full and you're trying to give and give and give, at some point you're going to crash. And you don't want to crash. You want to actually have your cup half full, be constantly giving to yourself so you're replenishing that cup so that you can still give to the other people in your life. So that's kind of what Independent Ivy is about. It's deep, it's surface, but it comes across all levels. Something that I've been realising is that I'm becoming more and more independent in my healing and my knowledge around my self-awareness the more I do this stuff. So this stuff isn't hard. Like everything I've written about in the book, it's really simple. It's all just about journaling. It's just about bringing your self-awareness to things. It's not hard, it just takes some time and some dedication. So when I started on my journey of change, I was looking to external people to do my changes for me. Now that is great, and if you can have therapists and if you can have healers that can work with you, then they can really get in and get to the core. But what I'm learning is the more I'm becoming aware of myself, the less I'm needing those people and the more I'm actually able to change myself based on my knowledge. And I want to give you an example of that happened last week. Last Friday, I just hit the wall. And I just said to my husband, I think I'm having a midlife crisis. I just felt yucky. And I said to him, I'm actually just not happy. I'm not happy with where we're living, I'm not happy with what I'm doing, and all these things. These were all surface excuses that were hiding an underlying thing. But I sat with it and I journaled about it. And I went walking I mused over it all night. And then I went walking the next morning near the beach, which is my meditation space and my thinking space. And I just kept saying to myself, well, why is that? Why is that? What's the deeper reason for that? And I asked myself, well, you said last night you're not happy. But are you happy? And the answer was yes, I am happy. I am happy living where I'm living, and I am happy doing what I'm doing. And I'm actually really enjoying my life. So why were they surface excuses? And I just kept digging and I just kept delving, and the dog is chewing paper at my feet, so excuse the noise. He does that when Scott's away, and Scott's away. So I just kept digging and digging. And I got to the point where I had this aha moment, and it was a fear. And I don't want to share the fear because it's really personal. But as soon as I named that fear on Saturday morning, and I was crying because it's a big fear, and one of the reasons that you know you're getting close to your things that need to change is when you become emotional, because they're really close to your heart and they're really dear to you, and there's something that you've kept in there a long time, and they're things that are keeping you safe and you're making all these surface excuses about. So I came home and I spoke to Scott and I said, I found it, here's my fear. It was bawling my eyes out. We talked about it, and as soon as we talked about it, and I'd expressed my fear to him and explained while I was having this midlife crisis, which so wasn't, it was just a bit of a down day, then it was all great and I was all back to normal, and I felt like this relief had been lifted off my shoulders. So I wanted to share that with you because I want to show you that I'm still doing my change journey all the time, and I'm still finding things that are coming up. B, I wanted to talk to you about it in Independent Ivy because I'm using the techniques I've given you in the book. And I know that you might read the book and go, it's just journaling. They work. Like, if you keep doing it and you keep soul searching and you keep looking within, you have all the answers. I can help you find them, but you have them all inside you. So it's just about looking and getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and not stopping when you get emotional. Because when you get emotional, that's the thing, that's the bit. You're at the great bit then. And crying is a beautiful release to get it all out and let it all flow and get it through it. And the awareness, as soon as the awareness came, nothing else changed for me on Saturday. Not one single circumstance in my life changed. All I did was have this awareness that I had found this fear and that I was not going to use it as an excuse anymore, and I was going to move forward. Huge, huge change. So I just wanted to share that tonight, so you could know that I was doing the same stuff that you're doing, and I'm still doing it, and it's never going to go away, but it just gets easier and easier, and you become more and more experienced at it, and you become more and more independent at it. So just a quick one tonight with Independent Ivy. If you're relying on other people, really take a look at that. Bring your awareness to it and ask yourself why and what is it you want to do, and then start to find ways to move forward. And journal, journal, journal until you can find some answers. That's all you've got to do. So I hope that helps. Next week I'm not going to do a live because I am going out to a networking function. So I'm going to skip next Wednesday. And the following Wednesday, we're going to move on to Excited Edna, who is part 2 of the self-love stage. So hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.